The following program is brought to you by Kevin Shorey Ministries and our family of friends.
Well, according to HolidayInsights.com, today is Miniature Golf Day. Yay! Who doesn't love miniature golf? And we got a couple of the best miniature golf courses in the world here in Branson, Missouri. Two that help us hand out. Matter of fact, anybody who wants it, we have one free round of golf at Wildwood Mini Golf. That's one of our favorite places because at Wildwood Mini Golf, they are indoors, so they are open year-round, no matter winter, summer, spring, or fall. I don't even know what the song that is. But that's Wildwood. And then right down the road from us is Scooter Sports Grill. Not only has some great food, great handcrafted, they have a personal chef that makes burgers there. It's amazing. And dragon eggs, but you have to go to find out what that is. They also have the Great Adventures Miniature Golf. So anybody here that wants that, we're handing out half price game there, 18 holes at Scooters. So between Scooters and Wildwood Mini Golf, we're celebrating miniature golf, but there's nothing miniature about this show. Wait till you see. Roll it.
It's the Kevin Shorey Show! Taped before a live studio audience at the Branson Mill in Branson, Missouri. Today, Kevin's special guests, Vicki Sue Paxton and Jimmy Jack Whitaker. Special music by Rosa Sadowski. Now, the man who proves you don't have to be miniature to play miniature golf. Here's your host, Kevin Shorey.
Welcome to the Kevin Shorey Show. Isn't it a great day to serve the Lord? Let us start right away and let's worship the Lord with the beautiful music. For the first time on the Kevin Shorey Show, we're welcoming Rosa Sadowski. So let's worship the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord, for your love for us. Thank you, Father God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
bajo mi Salvador, Cristo mi Redentor, nació en pesebre, despreciado y pobre, y con su tierno amor nos rescató. ¡Cuánto le amo! ¡Cuánto le adoro! Es mi luz, mi guía, mi todo es el Rey de Gloria vino a salvarme y a revelarme.
Yes, that is Rosa Sadowski. I feel the presence of the Lord here in the studio. I hope you feel him there at home. And we want to welcome Rosa today all the way from Mexico, by way of Indianapolis, Indiana. And so we're glad to have her here. She's going to come sing here at the end of the program. But we do what we do because of you, and we thank all of God's people, we call them our family of friends, for joining with us and partnering with us month after month. We just added a new Linda from Cape Girardeau is now our newest family of friend member. And every month we send you a gift to say thank you. If you give that $34 a month, that's $1. We came up with that number. It's $1 for every year I've been in ministry. 34 years in preaching the gospel that God has given me that opportunity. I'm honored to serve him for 34 years. And $34 a month, and we send you gifts. This month we have, we have so many great, wonderful vendors here in the Branson Mill that are part of the Craft Mall. Desiree's Craft Room is one of them. She made a little poster for me to show it, and she makes these wonderful handcrafted cards. She even does classes on how to make cards, birthday cards. I just got one of her beautiful birthday cards from my wife last week for her birthday, and but she has made the special card, the sticky note cover. And she made it just so I could send it to you this month to say thank you. What a beautiful blessing you are to me is what it says on it. And there's come in different colors. And we're going to send that along with my brand new CD called Finishing Strong. And so that is this month's family and friend member for the month of September. That's the gift. And so we're going to be giving that out to all of ours, ones that sign up in September as our family of friends, and we're so thankful for that. We also have a $54 blessing gift. It's worth over $150 easily, probably closer to $200. And this is an 8-set series by Pastor Gary McSpadden. We're calling it the Pastor Gary Offer, and he talks about the secret spirits that destroy the church. This is important for everybody to know how to pray, to know how to do warfare against these spirits that want to take down the church. There's snakes in the church. That's one of the first in the series, called the Python spirit. Find out what that's about. The spirit of Antichrist, which is, that spirit of rebellion. That's like the spirit of Jezebel. There's a 2-part series on that, of Cain, of the Leviathan spirit, of rebellion versus holiness, and the Absalom spirit. I think that is very prevalent today. It's the spirit of disloyalty. And it's just hard to find folks that are loyal and true to the gospel of Jesus, even if they say they are by words. That's the Leviathan spirit also that twists everything you say. You've got to get the series, but it's an 8-set series for $54, and we're throwing in as a bonus these healing scriptures and songs. Dino Kartsanakis plays "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus" on here. And Gary McSpadden, Pastor Gary, shares thoughts and scriptures on healing. We're doing that all for $54. Why did you pick 54? Unfortunately, that's how old I'm going to be this year. But anyway, I have to have a reason and a number, and they want us to offer for 100, said it's worth 150, and even at 100 it's a deal. I said, let's do the best we can in 54, because we pay for all the shipping for anything we send out. And I love these new blended Friends of Israel hat. It's a symbol, the Star of David, the Jewish symbol, as well as the cross. We are the only ones that have this. Other ministries have been given a few, but we have the total, complete rights to this hat, and when everybody should wear this. We're sending one to the president, so if you see Donald Trump wearing that, you can have the president and you both share the same hat, where you probably have an Make America Great Again hat, but this is a little more spiritual right here. I believe this is the way it should be. We are grafted in, aren't we? And so this is our Friends of Israel hat. So many different ways that you can give. If you go to kevinshorey.com, you can find it, or call. It's kevinshorey.com. Yesterday I kept saying kevinshoreyshow.com because I forever used to say, write to, jimbakershow.com. I used to put the show at the end of it, so as the announcer. No show. We do have a show, but go to kevinshorey.com or call 844-47-KEVIN. That's right here. You see that right there by the magic of television. And also, we're thankful that we can do television because of the owners, operators, and managers of the Branson Mill. And so here's our shout out to the Branson Mill. Roll it.
The world-famous Branson Mill at 3300 North Gretna Road, where art meets entertainment, featuring the Corner Store Studio, friendly staff, hundreds of shops, demonstrations, crafts, snacks, classes, artwork, fun for all ages, the Treehouse Cafe. All under one roof at the world-famous Branson Mill, where art meets entertainment.
And we're back. Yes, welcome everybody. Yes, I know we have folks from Indiana. Where are y'all folks from? From Blue Eye. Well, I know where that is. Yes, spent many a day there for years. And many years there for days. I don't know. Hey, it was a good time. Matter of fact, in the valley of Morningside in Blue Eye is where this picture was taken. This is one of my favorite trophies of my life. I've got to cross off another off my bucket list years ago when I got to record, and he helped produce, and I did all of his songs except for one, which is written by our other guest here. Actually, two. One was Phil Johnson. The other is Jimmy Jack Whitaker, who's here today. But we're going to talk about that, and this is one of my favorite trophies, one of my favorite CDs. If you don't have this, I doubt you can make the rapture when the trumpet sounds, because this, I'm just kidding. Okay, but this is a great project, and I know Brother Gary was really proud of it too. Yes. And he is a man that will be missed in so many ways. And Gary S. Paxton is the song "He Was There All the Time" was just enough, because he brought so much to the world, so much joy, so much inspiration, encouragement through his songs. And so today's kind of a tribute to my friend and one of the greatest songwriters and producers that ever lived, Gary S. Paxton. And here is his beautiful wife, Vicki Sue. That's what he called her all the time.
That's it.
Vicki Paxton. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And Jimmy Jack is here as well. And he wrote the song on here, "This Is Where Jesus Would Go." Mm-hmm. When I heard it, he goes, "Now I got a song that's not my song." And I said, "Well, Gary, I'd like to do all your songs." And he says, "No, but you got to hear this. My friend Jimmy Jack has written this song. This is where Jesus would go into the hospital, or to the abortion clinic,
yes,
to the homeless on the streets, to the veterans." I mean, this song touched my heart on so many levels. I had to record it, and I hope I did your song proud.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yes, well, use your mic if you say beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Thank you. Just everybody. But Miss Vicki, it just doesn't seem right that he's gone.
I know.
Already.
I know.
It just, because he brought so much color to the world. From the very first that I ever heard the name Gary S. Paxton, with the bright red boots and the beard, godly weird but terminally right. My algebra teacher in school played that record during tests.
Oh my goodness!
Talk about distraction. No wonder I flunked algebra the first time. Oh no, it was geometry, and I didn't flunk, but I got a C-, and I wasn't used to that. But I just loved his music, and I loved everything about him. What was it like to live with the legend called Gary Sanford Paxton?
Challenging.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, just the time I could spend with him and the stories he could tell.
Oh, my.
He has done every genre of music, worked with everybody. Ray Charles has done his music.
Yes.
He did Alley Oop.
Yeah.
What's the Cherry Pie song?
It's called Cherry Pie.
Well, there you go.
He toured with Dick Clark when he was Skip and Flip. He was Flip.
He was Flip. Yeah, of course. You could skip over him. And then, of course, I would see him all the time at the PTL. He was the orchestra and did
Yes.
all those songs there, and those songs that he came up with there. Of course, he was there all the time. Has been sung by everybody and their mother.
Never made the
all
charts.
over the world.
So
Never made charts.
never made charts.
Here's another thing that really kind of ticks me off. If I could be ticked off, my little pet peeve. Every year, the Grammy Awards does a memorial to all those that passed. He was not included.
I know, his name was not on there. I thought the same thing, Kevin.
Monster Mash, just Monster Mash alone should have put him because he was producer, writer of.
And that was the day before sound effects.
Yeah.
I mean.
It was a Monster Mash.
Right.
Yes.
So the whole
Does everybody know
story
what I'm
on
talking about? Those
that's
songs and.
interesting.
I know. I mean, but he's done. All kinds of different music, secular, but of course his passion was gospel music.
Yes.
And then to actually work with him, but you lived with him. You're a hero of mine for sure. But tell me, let's tell a Gary Paxton story.
Oh my goodness, which one?
Which one? Well, did he ever tell you like how he came up with "He Was There All the Time" or
He didn't
anything?
even remember writing it. And even when he would sing it, he'd get these big posters about like this with the lyrics on it.
Yes.
Because he could not remember the song. But he gave some demos to Bob McKenzie there in Nashville that was
producer,
yes.
right?
And Bob called him and he said, "This song's a hit." He said, "He was there all the time." And Gary said, "Well, I don't remember it." And he really doesn't remember writing it. So that's why he knew it was the Holy Spirit.
He's written songs with the Gaithers.
Yes.
I mean, he's just crossed the board. One of the best produced albums ever I remember in my life was a not well-known lady. She was at the time, but then she passed away. Glenna Sessions.
Oh, yes.
Free at Last. I mean, that was one. He could do anything.
His
Gary
mind
did
went 24/7.
Didn't it though? He was always pitching a new song.
Yep.
He would tell me about. He'd written one for the handicapped called "Handicapable," right? One for the Jewish world.
Yes.
He'd always had something, and he was always traveling. He even had a race car driver phase.
Oh, yes.
What was that
Yes.
all about? He was like
He told me, he
at
said,
Daytona and all that.
he said, if I would just go to Daytona and be a janitor and sweep the bathrooms just to be around racing. I mean, he loved it.
He was larger than life.
He was.
And I'm
He
glad
was.
we're going to get to see him in heaven someday
Yes.
soon. And I'm just
And that's what he cared about, was winning souls.
Yes, he did.
And he had a boldness, and I would say that's the greatest thing he taught me.
Yeah.
People will say, "Well, I'll pray for you." And Gary would say, "How about right now?"
Right now. Yeah, don't just say
don't
it.
wait. And I treasure that about him, was he was never afraid to say Jesus Christ or mention Jesus Christ
Yeah.
or lead someone to
Yeah, that's right. And that's where we all should be. I was reading in my devotions today in Philippians when it says, Philippians chapter 2, when Jesus became of no reputation. But Paul is also telling the church we should humble ourselves so that we can be everything that God wants us to be. Be lowly in mind and spirit, or humble. He's saying, esteem others over ourselves. I mean, and he was that way. He
did.
cared
I
about
love
everybody
Gary's
else.
heart.
Yeah.
I mean,
and in the process, probably was ripped off more than he
Yes.
made in all of these songs and all these productions. I mean, you would think he'd be a multimillionaire, and he probably saw millions go through, but he was a giver more than
yes,
anything.
that
wasn't
he was. I loved
Yeah.
his heart. And Gary and I had the same birthday, so that's why I knew God sent me to him.
Wow.
different
Where did y'all
years.
meet?
Met through R.W. and Donna Blackwood and Ron Woolman.
Blackwoods, yeah.
And I went to my hometown of West Plains, and I saw Ron Woolman there. And we went and had coffee and caught up on our lives. And he mentioned Gary's name. And I said, well, I've always wanted to meet him to tell him what He Was There All the Time meant to me, like
Yeah.
Amazing Grace. And Ron said, okay. So a year went by, and he'd been in Nashville visiting his daughter. And I said, when am I going to meet Gary? He said, okay. He called me back. He said he's going to call you this weekend.
Oh.
I still have that tape. So
Really?
Gary was a visionary, and I remember Donna Blackwood said he's very eccentric. And that's putting it mildly, right?
Yes, for
Right.
sure.
And that's why Gary always wanted to have a handy-capable school.
Yeah,
For
that's
to
really
teach
good.
music to handicapped kids, but he said they were handy-capable. So he would be proud of Jimmy Jack with the foundation and the music instruments.
Tell
for
us about
kids.
that, Jimmy Jack.
Yes.
And
Well, whenever I was 6 years old, my dad left home, and I didn't get to know him very well. I met him 3 or 4 times. He died young, and my mom had to work 2 jobs just to get me in music. In 3rd grade, I decided I wanted to play violin, and I had a brother and sister. I was the oldest, and I was kind of the man of the house through up until she remarried when I started 9th grade, and. I know when I wanted a guitar, when the Beatles came over, I said my hair got longer, and my music got louder, and my mama got madder. But I just, but she bought me a guitar anyway, and
Wow.
So I saw the struggle that a single mom had, and as I got older, I started giving my stuff away. Vicki's seen it. I had a $3,000 tailor I gave to a kid that was a missionary in Africa.
Wow.
And I didn't care. And I had another $500. I gave him my best one, and that's when I was in West Virginia. And I've done that.
but that's what God has
Yes.
called us to do.
Yes.
To begin.
Yeah,
How
and
did you bump into the Paxtons, though? How did you?
I didn't
guys-
bump into the Paxtons. I was with Gary 40 years ago, and
Wow.
I've been friends with him. I've seen somebody said sometime, I've heard it before. She has too. Man, Gary's getting eccentric in his old age. I see he was like that 40 years ago. He hadn't changed at all.
Yeah, no.
And I've stayed with him. I've lived with him.
Awesome.
I've sat in the studio with him hour after hour. He taught me so much. And our good friend Mark Mosley, who pray for him. He had a stroke, and he's a younger guy, but he and I are both Gary S. Paxton products.
Yeah.
And Mark and I do a lot of stuff
There's a lot of
in
those around
Nashville.
Yeah.
around
And
the
he
world.
had a stroke, and he can't hardly talk. He can't hardly use his left hand, but his brain's working. And so I'm going back in the studio with him with a couple in November, and he's got his right hand younger guy. He's been training like Gary trained us. And
Yeah.
I'm like, Mark made the famous statement to me. For me, he said, "I'd just be a $50 guitar player down in on a bar someplace if it hadn't been for Gary S.
Wow.
Paxton."
He touched a lot of lives, and it's all because, I mean, he was radical. We have to have you back when there's more time. Tell about how he got saved and how
Yes.
all that. And he came into the studio in his last days. He came in here in a wheelchair, and
Yes.
we prayed over him. I remember that. And then just months later, he passed. But I always wanted to have that interview with him, and so I feel like it's the same. And so please come back, and we'll talk about how he was
will.
saved and all the lives he's touched. Time goes by so fast. And then Jimmy Jack, how you wrote this, we want to talk about this is where Jesus would go and all that stuff, and have you back.
Daniel L. Johnson's a co-writer.
Yeah,
on it.
and have you sing it and stuff, or sing something that
If
when
I
you come
got
back.
a second, just tell one little Paxton story.
Oh yeah.
I got tons of them because I lived with him.
I know. We have to have you back.
Yeah.
Gary, we were at the. I never met the Comets before. We ended up pulling me in and singing back up on their CD. But Marshall was up on his upright bass, one of the Comets, and he was the leader. And Gary had to take somebody to the airport, so he left me and Greg, a guy that's an electrician. We were sitting in the audience, and so he introduced. Marshall didn't know he's gone. He said, Mr. Monster Mash himself sitting out in the audience. And and so they put the spotlight on us, and we didn't know what to do. So I stood up and started waving at everybody. And so
was
Gary
good.
showed back up, and everybody's coming after the show saying, hugging me, and Gary's standing right here saying, "Mr. Paxton, we love Monster Mash. You're the greatest. We love you," and shaking my hand and talking to me. Gary says, "Did I miss something?"
Yeah, that's a good story. That's good, and I know there's plenty of them. I wonder if we get. Yeah, there's some other stories. I don't know. There's so many we can tell and can't
That's
tell.
what
That's what I have to
tell a lot
filter.
of them, I think.
But it's great, and it's a love of the Lord. That's why we say,
Yes.
until his dying breath, he proclaimed, Jesus is the
Yes,
answer.
he
He's the
did.
answer for you today. Accept him today. You'll find out when Rosa sings this song of how great he is. You can only understand his greatness
Yes.
when you know him in a real way. So accept Jesus today. That's what this
That's
show is
right.
really all about.
That's
And
right.
they'll be back to tell more stories, but this is about Jesus. Know him. Don't just read about him or see a movie about him or hear about him. Know him today, and know and surrender your life to him. And you'll be able to sing. As we go out with this program, with this great song with Rosa Sadowski, would you welcome her? She sings this, and would you just thank the Lord for all he's done for you? And if you don't know him, find him today, and you'll know why we say Jesus is the answer for our world today. Let's praise him. Come on.
Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands hath made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displays. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art! How great thou art! Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art! How great thou Then when I think that God His Son not sparing sent Him to die, I scarce can take it in. That on the cross my burdens gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sin. This is the hope of glory. You're coming back for us, Lord. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take us home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow